Yeah, please don't strike my testimony from the record.
My name is Doss Ellis. I think there are too many bad fits in this right now, and so I would ask you to kill the bill and make it no rush. And thank you, Senator Romer, for advancing the dialogue in this manner.
Sure, you're welcome.
My name is James Trenholm, and I'm representing the poor and people that can't be here. It seems law enforcement can't understand this issue, and the reason they can't understand this issue is because their paychecks depends on them not understanding this issue. So law enforcement is to enforce the laws, not to make up the laws. So I don't understand why we have those people here. Now, I'm asking you to say, every one of you up there would say, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be the guard at Auschwitz. But guess what? 65% of you will. So that's all my question is you look at it and you say, is this the state's most pressing thing, or are children dying? Is that a higher priority?
Senator Newell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment. I don't know your name, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't
James
catch it.
Trenholm.
But I am personally carrying or co-sponsoring 5 bills this year that have to do with preventing child deaths. So,
I guess my specific question is, what safeguards have we put in place?
I wasn't asking for debate.
Mr.
I wasn't asking if you were asking that. I'm saying is that if you're letting children die, all of you guys need to choke.
The next outburst closes testimony.
My name is Kurt Von Kloot.
Load.
I'm a patient, a caregiver, and a grower. I'm here today to talk about this bill. It's been talked to death already. I want to thank you all for spending the time that you have. I'd just like to ask a couple of questions, and it would be to Senator Romer and to Senator Nancy, and I apologize on your last name.
Senator Spence.
Spence. The caregiver and 5 patients, is there a reason for that?
Thank you for the question. It was a number that we thought a caregiver could responsibly serve. I don't know that it's cast in stone, but it's a number that we decided that we would put in legislation.
My name's Bo Schaefer. I'm here representing myself, among other things, but I also represent Front Range Normal, which is a Front Range organization, the national organization to reform marijuana laws. But I'm not here to speak for myself, really. If I were, I'd speak of how I've self-medicated and recreated with cannabis for 40 years, and yet I'm still considered an upstanding pillar of the community. If I were speaking about myself, I'd speak to you of how myself and many others have swollen the activist ranks of the medical marijuana community to try and right this grievous wrong against our loved ones. If I were here to speak of myself, I'd point out the unwanted intrusion of government into my health care with a 72-page document regulating a 3,000-year-old plant, written by law enforcement with about 0 patient input. But I'm not here to speak for me. I'm here to speak for my wife. My wife, who is a wonderful wife, wonderful mother to my children, has suffered a great deal. A few years ago was diagnosed with a peripheral neural disease. She wakes up at night crying. The pain is so bad. I have to roll over and I have to rub her arms and legs. And she's moaning and crying because the pain is so bad and she doesn't know what to do. And I bring her in a rolled joint of medicine. And she takes a puff of it. And I watch the pain leave her face. And I watch her not have to cry and not have to cry herself to sleep at night because the pain is so bad. And now you want her to jump through hoops to spend more of her meager family income, to mark her with a scarlet letter of a patient card, to out her condition to people, and to possibly prevent her husband from being her caregiver, and to scare her so bad with your harsh penalties, convoluted rules, and onerous requirements that she sits there and suffers because she's afraid to expose her family to the danger of the rules, regulations, and penalties that you have for her relieving her pain. And so, yes, I agree with Mr. Lopez, who was up here, Mr. Chase, who was up here. I hold all of you responsible for causing my family pain and suffering by the way you look at this, by all these rules and regulations that you want on it just so somebody somewhere doesn't get some, and yet let my wife suffer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. See no objection. Amendment 107 passes.
Thank you. Senator Kester, I felt that 106 had caught some of the stakeholders by they didn't understand why and didn't catch my vision of it. So I'm going to meet with some more stakeholders. I can't tell you that I'll offer on second reading. I honestly believe in a wellness structure. I've said from day one, I don't really believe in the retail model. I believe in the wellness model, and I know it when I see it. I was going to mandate that they be more than just distribute pot.
So we're not going to act.
But I'm not going to act on it today because I didn't want to bother the committee, and I couldn't get consensus from any stakeholders. And last time I checked, I don't think anybody testified in favor of it.
Amendment 112 passes. Senator No.
I will be a yes on this amendment, but I would like to talk with the sponsors later about this whole taxing issue.
Amendment L113 passes. Amendment 119 passes. So Amendment 121 is adopted.
We're going to regulate marijuana. But let me assure you, this bill will not be perfection. But let's not let perfection be the enemy of the good.
Sure. Senator Newell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I ask Senator Roma that you slow down?
Sure.
This is the first time we've seen these amendments, and I want to make sure I know what I'm voting on.
Okay.